Yo, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Jay Will. So I decided to go ahead and do my full review for the UMi Touch X. And I was like, I'm just going to do it live because sometimes doing a recording of a device, it's fun. But again, I'm going to be changing it up, man. I'm going to try to do a lot more live videos because it makes it easier on me, to be honest. Less recording, less editing. Sometimes I will do an unboxing and I'll do special reviews on things. But the UMi Touch X is a beautiful device, and I decided to go ahead and just give you my review firsthand. So let's start with the first of all, shout out to everybody who's always joining in. I know this is in the middle of the day, and a lot of people might not be able to join in and watch, but you will be able to catch the replay. If you're not able to watch live right now, you can catch the replay later on because I'll have it up on the channel. So I was recording my full review of the UMi Touch X, and Canon, remember, I was recording my full review of the UMi Touch X, and I was like, I think I'm gonna try something different. I'll do a live full review of the UMi Touch X. I know it's kind of like the middle of the day. Well, actually, it's like 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So some people might be able to catch this broadcast if they're off work already or they didn't work or whatever the case may be. But the UMi Touch X is a phone that I picked up, I got for a review from the also famous Banggood.com. And I wanted to tell you how I felt about it right now. So first, let's jump into the techie stuff about this device. So this device has a MediaTek, it has a MediaTek 6735. So, it's not gonna have this super fast, blazing processor, and it won't handle a lot of things, like other phones. I have a ton of phones laying right here. It won't handle the processes like that. However, it will not disappoint. It is a 64-bit quad core. It has 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of storage built in with an SD card. So those are some huge pluses already about the UMi Touch X. Now, UMi has a lot of different phones, but pretty much all of them are the UMi Touch, and they'll have something else. The next phone that I plan on bringing in is the UMi Super. Now, I normally don't tell everybody what I'm bringing in, but the UMi Super is actually that is a kind of a flagship killer, if you will. I'll bring it in. It's not new at this point. Well, it is new. It's been out for about a month or so officially. But this UMi Touch X has some good things. So a little bit of the techie stuff I just gave you, 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs on board. It does have a MediaTek 64-bit processor, but it does have Android 6.0. So that's a huge plus. It has, now here's one thing along the techie side for people that might want to bring this in. Now this isn't a bad thing. For me, it actually works because where I live at, T-Mobile is actually a really solid, the network is really solid. So the UMi Touch, on T-Mobile's network it runs on 3G and HSPA Plus, and with AT&T, it's going to do the same. You'll be on HSPA Plus or you'll be on 3G. So the UMi Touch will work like it's supposed to, and with me testing it on AT&T and T-Mobile, the speeds are acceptable. So it doesn't say LTE, but you will get some very fast speeds from this phone. It works on 3G in the US. Now this is still on the techie thing. I'm going to load up so I can try to monitor I'm going to try to monitor the live chat for you guys if I can at the same time. I want to do it from my tablet because it'll be easier to deal with. But this phone does work with. I'll do it from the net. This phone does work with 3G in the US for T-Mobile and AT&T, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all. What's going on? Oh, I see some people in there. It's Kev's in there. Paul Tech. What's going on, Paul Tech? Oh man, Anthony's up in here. What's going on, man? I didn't even know. I'm glad I turned on the live chat. I really didn't think anybody would catch this. I was just going to shoot it live and let you guys see the playback. Nonetheless, this phone is actually really, really good for what it's worth. It does work on 3G and HSPA Plus for AT&T and T-Mobile, which means it should work for Cricket as well. Now, if you look at the, I don't like to stay on the techie stuff too long, but if you look at the front of this thing, it's got a 5.5-inch 1080p display. So with that being said, let me tell you the price before I go any further, and I'll repeat it several times. It's $108. 5.5 inches, SD card slot, dual SIM. It does work on 3G, 4G sometimes in the US, depending on your carrier. It has a Sony camera on the back, which is an 8 megapixel, and a 2 megapixel on the front, which is has an LED flash there. So the screen can get pretty bright, I have to admit. So for $108, you're actually getting a lot of phone just with those standards alone. 5.5-inch 1080p display, SD card slot, dual SIM, Sony camera on the back with an 8 megapixel. And one other quality that it has that some lower end phones are starting to adapt, not lower end, but lower priced phones are starting to adapt, is the metal body. Now this has some antenna lines along the front, on the top and bottom, but there's some plastic along here to make sure that you get good service. Now service on here, reception, was actually really, really good. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's not, because I'm running on 3G, so it's gonna run very, very well. This phone, I don't know how well it comes across on camera, but this phone is phenomenally built. It is kind of heavy because another selling point that's a pro for this is a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So let's recap real quick for the things that I've already said. 4,000 milliamp hour battery, 5.5-inch 1080p display, 8 megapixel Sony camera on the back, 2 megapixel on the front with LED flash. Does work on T-Mobile and AT&T in the US and Cricket and Family Mobile, all those carriers that use a SIM card. SD card slot, dual SIM, metal chassis, metal body, plastic and metal is what it says on the website, for $108. I don't think a lot of people will be disappointed with that. Another pro that I found for myself, and this is one that some people, I hope you guys would think this was a pro. It has the 5 gigahertz band. I have other phones that are, one of my favorites that I have is this phone right here, the InFocus. This is all metal right here though. This is actually all metal. It's a 5.2-inch 1080p display. This phone is also $100, but it doesn't have the 5 gigahertz band. Now this phone runs very well. I'm not saying that that's a bad deal, but this phone right here actually has the 5 gigahertz band. It's only $108. That is just a killer deal. So there's the pros for me definitely outweigh the cons. So you see, I mentioned the 8 megapixel Sony sensor on the back here. Is it going to perform like the Z series? Of course not. Yeah, you're not going to get Z series performance here. However, this phone looks amazing. It looks amazing. This is a $108 device. Should I recap the pros I had again? I'll get to them again. But the price tag on here is $108, and it is truly worth your. Think about some other phones that you spent $108 on, and then think about those phones that you spent $800 on. Now think about this phone. Think about what you're getting. $108, metal body, SD card, dual SIM, works over here in the US, 3G, 4G, being honest. 5.5-inch display, 1080p, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. How could you go wrong? $108. Again, think of some of the other phones that you've purchased in the past that don't have this. If you see here, this actually has a home button. Now, when I first picked up this phone, I thought, oh man, they sent me the one, because there's several different versions of this phone. One in particular this is actually a fingerprint reader. The home button is actually a fingerprint reader on the other model. And that model is just simply called the UMi Touch. And it's about $30 to $40 more. Now, based on my experience with this, you gotta say, Jay, it can't all be good. Well, you'd be right. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this is a flawless device. Now, let's jump back to that camera. Now, the camera quality on here, as I was saying before, you're not gonna get this stellar Sony quality from the Z line, because this is a phone from overseas and it's scaled back. It's scaled back, and they gotta cut corners somewhere in order to give you this metal body, this 1080p display, the SD card, the dual SIM. They've gotta cut corners somewhere. So with that, there's not a lot of proximity sensors in here, and there's not a lot of sensors in the phone, I'm sorry. And the camera is not the best. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I wouldn't sell you this phone if I was a seller or a reseller. I wouldn't be trying to sell you this phone based on the camera, because the camera quality, you know, it's doable. I've got phones that shoot, the quality is not as good, but they cost more. So here are, I don't know how this is going to be because I've never done a live review, but here's some pictures that I took. Let me see if I can get to, because I have these big bright spotlights. That's a picture that I took, and here's another picture that I took. So the quality is decent. I've shot some video too. Now, video is where it actually shines. The zoom on the camera, the zoom on here is very grainy, man. It is just, when I zoomed in, I was like, wow, you know, that's horrible. I'm just keeping it real. But again, they've got to cut corners somewhere to bring you such a good price on the phone. Another place where this phone shines, what's going on, Brooke? Another place where this phone shines is battery life. Battery life on here. Also, one other thing before I talk about the battery life, check this out. I'm going to go to it right now for you. I'm going to show you. See if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this right here. I'm going to try to show you. It runs Android. That's probably not coming up too good, but it runs Android. Let me just do the little thing here. It runs Marshmallow. It runs Marshmallow. It runs Marshmallow. That should say enough. You know, it runs Marshmallow. So it's a huge plus. I don't know. $108 again. You do the math. I think Umi is putting in some good work. They're not very famous over here in the U.S. However, man, $108 for this package is actually really, really good. Now, let's jump over to the battery life. The battery is 4,000 milliamps, and I see that in the live chat. I'm going to talk about the battery life for a minute. The battery life is 4,000 milliamps. Now, I'm a heavy user. When I say I'm a heavy user, I'm a heavy user. I'll frequently pop my SIM card within phones while another one's charging. 4,000 milliamps though. You're probably saying, "Oh man, I could last 2 days on that battery," especially if it doesn't really pull down LTE. So you know I can leave it on Wi-Fi, the 5 gigahertz band. You'd be right. I'm able to pull down 5.5, 5 hours with heavy use with my usage. Now, I don't keep it on Wi-Fi very often because, again, like I said, where I live at, T-Mobile's 3G network is really, really fast. So, you know, it works really, really good. This other phone that I have too that I've reviewed, the InFocus, people love this phone. Now, it's another $100 phone. It runs on T-Mobile, AT&T, Cricket, just like this one, metal. This is all metal though. But this phone runs on Cricket, Family Mobile, T-Mobile. It runs on all these different providers. You just pop your SIM card in there. Now, depending on how strong your signal is, that's something that contributes to how good your battery might be. So what I do is I kind of, when I'm in the house, I try not to be on Wi-Fi, but it depends on what I'm doing. Since it has the 5 gigahertz band, that excites me. So I'll leave it on depending on if I'm going to be doing a lot of streaming and I don't want any kind of buffering at all. Or I don't want to tone down the quality on YouTube. Like some days I'll have a YouTube day. I know you guys have YouTube days. If you have a YouTube day, tell me in the comments if you have a YouTube day. We all know what a YouTube day is. A YouTube day is you just kind of sit around and all day you just kind of stream YouTube videos, just searching for products that you already have or searching for products that you want to buy. Everyone does this. This is today's shopping. This is today's online research. Everybody has those YouTube days where you go to the internet or you go to the YouTube application on your phone and you pop on YouTube and you just search for stuff that you want to see and you stream all day. So that is what I do, like most people. And when I'm doing that, I'll turn on the Wi-Fi because I want to watch it at the highest quality. Now, when I'm not on Wi-Fi, I put it on 480p. On a small screen, this is kind of where that T-Mobile binge on thing kind of comes in. They made some valid points with that, by the way. if you're not on Wi-Fi, put your video in 480p. It's just as good on a small screen, no lie. But the battery life on here is going to depend on, you know, your usage. Battery life is always, it always depends on the user. My experience with this, 4,000 milliamp hour battery, I'm guaranteed at least 5.5 hours based on my usage. And that's going on almost 2 days or so, just under 2 days. I can pull it down. Now, sometimes I'll leave it powered off. I don't know if you guys do that. Do you guys power off your phones when you're not? Because I have several laying on the table here. Do you power off your phones when you're not using them? Because I like to keep it at 100%. Now, some phones that I have, when I turn them off, I'll charge them to 100%, put them back in the box, store them in my little section that I have for devices. And some of those phones, if you let them sit too long, they won't be at 100 when you power them on. With this phone, I let it sit for, I think about 2 days or 3 days or so. And when I turned it back on, sure enough, it was at 100%. And that's what I like to do. This phone charges kind of slow. Just staying on this battery thing for a second. It's going to take a little bit of time to charge. So I would suggest using the charger that came with it, or if you have an Anker, I have an Anker, and it's a smart charger. So it's going to pull down the fastest current possible depending on the device, and it's going to give me a fast charge. So I'm not saying that this phone has fast charge. I'm just saying I have an Anker. And if you have not invested in an Anker yet, Ankers, the ones that go directly to the wall, I would say definitely invest. Invest in an Anker with at least 5 ports on it. Someone's Lopez said her YouTube day is today. My project 13. Yeah, you do. I know you have YouTube days, man, for real. But yeah, so gaming on here, I did, this is live, so I can't really switch it around and show you. I can turn on a game. It's going to play. I was actually playing a game earlier. The screen for gaming, as you can see, I was playing a game. I wonder if I could, like, let me see if I can try this. Can I do this? I'm going to try to get creative with it. Let me show you. Let's do it, baby. Let's just try it. You see that? This is NBA Jams. Sound quality is really good. I'm able to play like this. Boy, look at your boy getting it in. Uh-oh, boom. All right, so you kind of get an idea. The gaming is, even though this is a MediaTek processor, that was crazy, right? I'm gaming, trying to flip around. I'm using my MacBook Pro to do a lot of these hangouts. But the screen is huge, and you see the quality of the screen. And gaming, even though it has a MediaTek, now you guys know how I feel about MediaTek processors. They're not the strong suit. That's NBA Jams. It's an older game. Let me put it here. Older game, but still fun. Simple to play. Shout out to all the people that are able to join and catch this broadcast live. I didn't think anybody. I was just gonna do this and keep it moving. You can catch it on the replay, but those on lunch break, appreciate you joining in. But as you can see, the quality there. This is a 64-bit processor, and it is a MediaTek 6735 or 53, I think it is. I think it's a 53. It's a 35. So it is an older processor, but the GPU is a Mali T20 for those techies out there that know. It is a 64-bit processor, but it has 2 gigs of RAM, so it's able to handle, and that's not a graphic intense game. However, I've played this on phones, and it doesn't work. Like something about the way that when the developer, so check it out. When I try to play that, I'm gonna take my case off of my HTC 10. Here's the HTC 10. When I try to play that game on the HTC 10, it has a loud buzzing noise, just like the G5. I don't know what was up with it, but you know, it had a loud buzzing noise, and it wouldn't even play the game at all. So this is something with the processor or the graphics. You know, it's $108 for. See, you hear this? You guys hear that? That is what happens when I try to play it on the G5 and I try to play it on here. But I just paid, and this phone is almost a little over seven. No, yeah, it's a little over $7 with taxes. This is $108, just like that. $108 for a phone like this. As you can see, something as simple as the developers keeping up with their software, their games, and things like that. Yes, I have the display. I'm kind of trying to flip back and forth and monitor. I'm gonna switch over to the chat here and start answering. Put your questions in the chat real quick, like you guys are doing, and then I'll try to just shoot back over there. So the gameplay on there, as you can see, it wouldn't play on my HTC 10, but it did play on the Umi, which is weird. This has a Snapdragon 820, but that's not to say that this phone is bad. It's just to say that the developers are doing something, but how is that possible? That game doesn't play on the G5, and it won't play on my HTC 10. It played on the HTC, excuse me, the S7 Edge and the S7. But I'm going to answer a question in here. I'm going to scan back through the comments here. So the first question I say here is from Deepak Murthy. All right, so question about the display. Well, the brightness, take a look real quick. Take a look at the brightness. You can see the brightness here. Now I'm going to turn the brightness up. I don't know how that looks on the camera, but it's actually a really bright phone in the daylight. The brightness is sick on here, and it's just because of the camera reflecting, but the brightness on this phone in direct sunlight is ridiculous. Now, I know that you guys really can't see that on the quality here, but I'm telling you, take my word for it. I wouldn't lie to you about a phone that cost $108. It's worth it. So when I'm doing this, kind of trying to show it to you this way, the quality doesn't look very good, but this phone is super bright in direct sunlight. How long is the battery life? I just got done talking about battery life. Thanks for joining, Todd. Battery life for me is about almost 2. I'm a heavy user, and battery life for me with that 4,000 milliamp hour battery was about 5.5 hours, with almost 2 days of usage on really heavy usage. Thanks for that question. Let me see if I got Paul Tech. I honestly believe a lot of these mid-range affordable phones are just as good as the mid. You're absolutely right, because there is a version of this with a fingerprint reader, and it's only $30 to $40 more depending on where you purchase it. So that is a huge plus. Hakeem Bello, does it work in the US? Can you get 4G LTE? It's weird. You must have just joined. I just talked about this. Thanks for the question, Hakeem. No, you will not pick up LTE in the US, but I talked about this for a long time right before you popped on with this. Don't let that deter you. Testing this on T-Mobile, AT&T, it'll definitely work with Cricket, Family Mobile, all these other places that use a SIM card. You're going to get great speeds, I can confirm, with T-Mobile and AT&T. And Cricket is AT&T. Family Mobile is T-Mobile. Simple Mobile, basically T-Mobile. The speeds that I get on here are really, really solid. If you're a person who does a lot of streaming, and you will be able to do a lot of streaming with this phone, even though the signal is going to say 3G, the internet is really, really fast. You shouldn't let that deter you. You'll be able to stream, and you shouldn't have any buffering. Set the quality to 480p if you're over 3G, and it's bang, it's good. Now I have, if you're kind of wondering about the speeds, they're pretty good. The speed test itself is speed test. So I was just going to talk about Todd. Thanks for that question. The speed test. Does anybody know what LTE speeds technically are? Don't say 100, 60, 50. If you technically know what LTE speeds are, you'll know that pretty much this phone is technically pulling down LTE speeds. So if you know what they are, what's an LTE speed? Oh, I'll do a speaker test. I'll do that speaker test next. No, the speaker is on the back here, but yeah, it is really loud. So LTE speeds on this phone are you're a little high, Brooke. You might be going by today's standards as far as what are technically LTE speeds. Type in Google if you can in a different browser window. What are LTE speeds? And you should be seeing something like 5 to 12 or 2 to 5. So those are technically, and I say technically because, you know, we all know we're getting much more than that. We're getting 70, 80, 100. but technically LTE speeds are between 2 to 5 and 5 to 10 or 5 to 12. This phone pulls down 1 to 4 sometimes, depending on where I'm at. Now, if I go out, there's a T-Mobile tower like right outside or right around the road there. I can pull in 4 to 7. Even though it says 3G, it's pulling in really, really good speeds. Really, really good speeds. Good question, man. Now, speaker quality. I'm going to turn on a video here. I'll grab a video. Again, shout out to those people on their lunch break that decided to stop by and watch. I appreciate it. Let's see here. I'm going to do, I got to find something. Oh, here's something that has music. And now remember the speaker's on the back here, so I'm going to play this. Correct. Long-term revolution. You'll be right. That's from a video, so it's probably not the best, but YouTube has so many copywriting things. And I don't have music that you guys might not want. You might not want to listen to my type of music, which is gospel music. You probably don't want to hear that. But take my word for it. The speaker is on the back. It is loud. It's not the loudest. If you lay it flat on a table, you won't get the best sound. It'll muffle out. If you hold it like so, it'll shoot back towards you. So it'll be loud enough. It's like if you've seen those phones that are overseas, like this phone right here has a speaker on the bottom, so it is really, really clear compared to this phone because it's not. I can lay it flat on a table and it's good to go. This phone right here, cup it a little bit like you do phones. Remember, all speakers were on the back of phones. You remember, and there was a little spot. This speaker isn't the loudest. However, it'll work. In the right setting, it can seem really, really loud. It looks bulky, Miguel says. Yeah, that did sound a little distorted because again, that was coming from a video. But music on here, because of YouTube's copywriting, I don't really want to play too much, and you won't like the music that I play. So, next one is. Trust me, Todd, it's a really clear and loud speaker. It looks bulky. The millimeters on here, it's not like what you think. Again, I'm showing it to you like this. So it appears that it's a lot thicker than what it is. Johnny, there go my man, Johnny Appleseed. He took time off from work real quick. Let me tell you the exact measurements because I think they have them here on the website. Where is it? I saw it on here somewhere. I want to give you, I think it's like 7.8 or something like that. It might not look like it on this video, but it's a very thin and comfortable phone to hold. Let me see here. I want to give you the exact one. It has a 2.5D curved glass too, if I didn't say that yet. Oh yeah, I'll grab if you guys don't mind me leaving the video, I'll grab my iPhone. It's over there on the charger. I can walk over real quick. I hate to leave the video, the broadcast, but it's not as heavy as the iPhone 6s Plus or the 6 Plus. I'm trying to give you these measurements because I think it's about 7.5 or something like that. 7.8. No, actually it's 8.5. I'm sorry, 8.5. So it's 8.5 in thickness and it's 189 grams. So the iPhone, I haven't actually looked for any cases for this, to be honest. It was a review unit that they gave to me and told me I can keep it, like Banggood do. That's how they do it for me. They give me the review units to say, just keep them, don't send them back. But don't let the 189 grams or whatever I said, 89 grams deter you. If you know what an iPhone 6 Plus feels like, you know what this feels like, and it's a little bit lighter than an iPhone 6 Plus. This looks a heck of a lot better too. For those just joining in, I've done my full review of the UMi Touch X. Fantastic phone for $108, killer specs. I'm gonna jump back to the questions in the comments in a moment. I'm just gonna catch some people up. This has been my full review of the UMi Touch X. Just to recap, it's a $108 pocket-friendly device. 5.5-inch 1080p display, 8-megapixel Sony camera, 4,000 milliamp hour battery, dual SIM, SD card slot. It's just a beautiful phone, LED flash on the front, just to name a few things. So I'm going to jump back over to the question. Brooke, no, I haven't looked at any cases, like I said before, Brooke. If you have an iPhone 6, mine is across the room over there on the charger. If you have an iPhone 6, I know it's super cheap and it's very affordable and it's really nice. If you have an iPhone 6 or 6 Plus or 6S Plus, you pretty much know what this feels like. I'll grab my, I hate to leave the broadcast and go get this phone over here. I didn't think anybody would ask about that, but yeah, if you have a iPhone 6 Plus or an iPhone 6S Plus, you'll be comfortable holding this phone because it feels better in the hand. It's got a little bit of ridges around the sides. It's a 2.5D curved display. However, it feels better in the hand than the iPhone 6 Plus or 6S Plus because it's not as slippery. So that's kind of how it is. Does the device have expandable memory? Yes. Kenneth Prime just joining in. I appreciate you joining in. Yes, it does have an SD card slot. Yes, I just covered the camera. The Sony camera on the back takes pretty decent photos. And I'm gonna go back to the gallery and show you some of the photos that I showed earlier. I took these photos prior to the video. Let me see here if I can. I have these bright spotlights, so it might look kind of crazy with reflections, but it does take pretty decent photos. The camera, it works. It's not the best camera in the world. It does have a Sony sensor. However, it'll get the job done. And most of us use our phones now for social media. So, you know, it's worth it. When you think about the price, you just can't go wrong. $108. You just can't beat it. Any questions, put them in the chat. Those who are just joining on, I appreciate you guys joining on. It's man J. Will. I'm doing my first live full review of a device. I've been using this for a while now. My first impressions of it a while back, fantastic a lot of bang for your money. You're getting a lot of phone. Xiaomi, or however you pronounce that, they have really killer phones. I have yet to review one of those, and it's only because I haven't requested one yet. I've had plenty of opportunities to get one of those phones or purchase it at a very low price and review it. But I like to, everyone knows that brand. And so a lot of people probably have, if you're in the US, you probably have not heard of this brand. But it's a really, I mean, you think about it, you're getting, let me recap here for the people just joining in. Starting with the outside here, metal body, metal frame, metal body, plastic for the antenna. Obviously, you know, you gotta have some antenna ports. There's some antenna slits right there. You can kind of see them there. Metal body, partial plastic, metal frame for sure. It is a 1080p display. I was going to get to that next. Thanks for that question, Deepak Murphy or Murthy. It is a 1080p display, and it is a gorgeous display. Now, the reflection on the camera is not letting you see how great this screen is, but it's a 5.5-inch 1080p display. That is it. That is flawless. So we're already beating out several of the devices. Metal body, 5.5-inch 1080p display, SD card slot, 8-megapixel Sony sensor, dual SIM, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It's good. So there's a question in here. No, it's 1080p, not 720. Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, it's 1080p. On the 5.5. Bloatware, there it is, bloatware. No, there is absolutely no bloatware. All the applications that you see here, I loaded them. The only thing it pretty much had was the basics, and it had, yes, it actually has Marshmallow. Only thing it had was the basics and the Google Play Store. So when I say the basics, it had like the phone app, calculator, calendar, camera. It has its own little web browser there, which I don't use, downloads, that type of deal. And one thing that will please a lot of people, this should really turn you on, it has an FM radio. If you want to call something bloat, maybe you can call that bloatware, but I think that's a positive. Yeah, so everything else, I put it on here. All these applications, and I still don't have a lot. I loaded it up. Let me see. What does the phone not have? Yeah, right. This is the version. Now, there is a version of this. The home button looks like a fingerprint reader, but there is a version of this that has the fingerprint reader. This is actually a fingerprint reader. It's only like $30 to $40 more depending on where you purchase it. But there is a version of this. This is the Touch X, and the version with the fingerprint reader is called the UMi Touch. So this is the UMi Touch X. And the one with when this is a fingerprint reader is called the UMi Touch. It's only like $30 to $40 more. There's a lot that this phone offers for $108. I can't stress it enough. I know this may not be a well-known brand in the US. However, this is a really good brand overseas because it does have 4G LTE, just not for the US. No, it doesn't have NFC. That's one thing. Yep, that's one that it doesn't have. Good question, Kenneth. Kenneth, it doesn't have NFC. I'll show you here if you can kind of see that. It has airplane mode, your tether, and your VPN. No NFC. And that's just that. No NFC. I don't know why. However, it is a very responsive phone. Very, very, very good phone. $108. You just can't beat it. You can't beat it. Because when I bring in phones like my higher end phones, like the HTC, you got to wonder, you know, this phone, it can't compete with the HTC 10, or it can't compete with some other phones. I've got some more phones coming in, but I keep phones like the K10 this is a boss phone, by the way. This phone is actually $164. Sweet phone. I've already done a review on this and several videos on that. But where does this phone fit in at? Where do you guys think this phone fits in? Does it match up? BG, what's going on? BG Tech Life and House. Does it match the K10? Someone just asked. Thanks, Rafael Morales, for that. That's a tough one. Maybe I'll do a video. Maybe I'll do a video comparing the two. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video, because you guys know that I love this phone right here. This is a killer phone right here. It's boss, and it's only $164. So yeah, and this has LTE, so that, you know, it is an actual T-Mobile variant. And I love that they don't have any kind of branding on it. But yeah, this is a boss right here. Everything about this phone, I think this should have been how I've said it before. This should have been the G5, the LG G5. They could have left the modularity. And this body is a 2.5D curved glass. This is just a killer phone. Nonetheless, which one would I prefer? Well, I have them both, so kind of difficult for me to say. Both of them have good things and bad things. This is a 5.3 inch. This is a 5.5. This is 1080p, 720. I don't know. I like them both, so it's tough for me to say. Eric, oh man, Eric, you've been hanging around for a long time. It's unlocked. I use AT&T and T-Mobile, and I have a Verizon account, but I just use my Verizon account. I just pay that expensive bill just so I can get all my iPhones on that account because they're unlocked already. But Eric, what's going on, man? No, it is not LTE for the US. I just got done discussing this, but you will get semi 4G speeds. It works. It's unlocked dual SIM. It works, you know, on T-Mobile, it'll work on all GSM carriers. The screen is gorgeous. It's 1080p. I have to light up the areas. I have these huge spotlights, so you're really not getting the best of this display. It is super bright in direct sunlight, and I don't have it cranked up very high. I have it at about 35% right now, and it is actually extremely bright, but it doesn't come across on video very well, and I apologize for that. You probably can't even see it, but there's the brightness turned all the way up. But you know, sorry guys for that. This is such a huge reflection, but nonetheless, this is a 1080p display, and it is good. So I'm not gonna tell you that it's not. How come you can't get it? This phone, thanks, Mike. This phone is actually not specifically made for this region. So while it does have the 3G, semi 4G band speeds in here, it's made for overseas. It's not made for, it has LTE, but not for the US, but you will get, you know, very fast speeds. And it has a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi band too, so that's a huge bonus. Let me see. Travis, what's going on? I discovered some of the guys just joining on. Catch the recap because I've kind of finished with the full review and I'm just kind of answering questions in the chat. But the battery life is actually fantastic, man. You'll get fantastic battery life on here. What else does a more expensive UMi offer? The one besides the fingerprint reader, let me pull it up real quick. We're live, but I'll pull it up. It offers a fingerprint reader, and I think it has 3 gigs of RAM. Let me see here. UMi Touch. I'm pretty sure it has 3 gigs of RAM. Yeah. The difference between this one, and it's actually on sale. Okay, so if you want, now I'm going to go ahead and tell you this is probably a go right here. If you want the higher end model of this phone, pay attention. The higher end model, it still has, it looks exactly the same. You still get the same speeds and everything over here. That button becomes a fingerprint reader, but you get 3 gigs of RAM. That's the difference. So you get 3 gigs of RAM and you get a fingerprint reader. And that is the only thing that I could see. I mean, there's different colors. There's a silver one and they have this gold one too. But the higher model also, you get a 13 megapixel Sony sensor and a 5 megapixel on the front. So that, good question, man. That is the difference looks like. It has still has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, but it has 3 gigs of RAM on the higher model. It has a 5 megapixel on the front opposed to the 2 on this one, and a 13 megapixel Sony sensor on the back opposed to the 8 on this one. 3 gigs of RAM, yeah, same processor, yeah, and that's hot, yeah. I think you'd probably like that one. Also, the higher model comes in, it doesn't come in gold. It comes in like a space gray and then a silver. Let me see if I can put it up for you here. Let's see. Can you guys see that? I know the reflection is probably bad, but it comes in like the space gray. As you can see the price there, 138 bucks. So $30 more gives you a whole bunch more. You get another gig of RAM. You get better cameras. Here's the silver model. Again, sorry for the poor reflection there from the camera. However, the higher model for $30 more, you get 3 gigs of RAM instead of 2. You get a 5 megapixel on the front and a 13 on the back, and you get a fingerprint reader, and that's pretty high. I think that's worth it. You know, I think that's worth it. Yeah. What do you guys think? I think an extra 30 bucks for all of that. 3 gigs of RAM, yeah. I think that's worth it. Random question, what's the fastest Lte speeds in America? Good question, dude. I would say I've gotten, on T-Mobile's network, I've gotten upwards of 100, but there are faster speeds that people have gotten in the past. Yeah. I've seen people get well over 100 on network. Yes, you're right. You get 13 megapixel camera. Yeah, I would say that's a better buy too. Yeah, I would definitely. Now again, this was a review unit. I say it's a review unit, even though they give me the phones. I don't have to give them back. That's why you see me give a lot of phones away. I just gave away like 10 smartwatches in the at the beginning. Started with in 2016. I've done the most giveaways so far. I might have given away about 10 smartwatches already, or at least 5. I'm sure I've given away at least 5. And then I've given away 3 cell phones this year, I think. And to those people, if you're watching, if you want one of my cell phones or if you want one of my giveaways, I actually do ship the products off, you know. Yeah, and I just completed a couple of giveaways. Shout out to those winners on the other. I did a live giveaway a couple of days back. I actually prefer this setting, I guess. I'm starting to prefer this. I don't prefer doing a review of a phone live like this because I can't really show you up close. But I did record my full review, but I kind of like this better, man. I like interacting with people directly and you know, answering questions live. I think it's a heck of a lot better. That's just me. Let me see here. I'll do a couple more questions, and I'm going to go ahead and grab some lunch. 30, yep, $30 is more. Have you ever been in an area with LTE Advanced? Yeah, I live in an area with LTE Advanced. Yeah, I live in an area with LTE Advanced, and it's really fast. But yeah, speeds are good. LTE Advanced is really good. So it's your man Jay Will, man. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys taking a second for your lunch break or whatever you're doing. It's actually this has actually been about a 45-minute broadcast. It's actually 4 o'clock. It was 4 o'clock Central Standard Time when I started this, and it's now 4:47 or something of that nature. So I don't know what time it is where you are, but as always, man, I really appreciate all the support. Just for reference, I do have my Windows Phone sitting here. So I was going to revisit this. I might. It's charged and ready to go. Nonetheless, man, I appreciate you guys' support. I kind of like this setting of being able to answer questions right away. I think it's good, man. And I hope you guys like this setting. I'm just trying to do something different. I've done so many reviews like this with the camera pointing at the phone, and again, like I've said in the past, I was trying to do different things on the channel. I don't know how much longer I'll be doing reviews on YouTube. People always say keep the channel going, but this was my hobby, and it just kind of turned into, wow, everybody starts sending me phones and things to review and sending me all these different products. However, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I've got if you tune in this week, later this week, I've got a very special first impressions video for you. Someone requested this for me. I was already going to pick up the device. I was going to buy it anyway, but someone kind of requested the full review for it, even though I knew I was going to do it. But again, this is the type of setting that I actually appreciate. I think it's a lot better because I am a real person. If you see me in the grocery store or Walmart or wherever, walking down the street, I'll just be like, hey. And it's happened plenty of times. People say, hey, man, you're Jay, and I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And other people are looking at them like, who is this guy? But I'm not trying to be famous at all. I really do enjoy technology. And if I can adapt this setting more, like I said at the beginning of this video, when you watch the recap, this will be up. So it makes it easier on me with editing and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of just to the point, I just give it to you. That's how I do my videos anyway, just reviews. I just give it to you. I try not to do, I've even gotten away from a lot of fancy animations and stuff when I can. But if I have to piece videos together, then I have to piece them together. However, I do like this setting, man. I think it's a little bit more personable, and the live chat, I think, is really fun. I never used to do live chat before, but again, you got to start changing things up, because I know people will get tired of seeing the same thing all the time. And this really is easier for me to do a live broadcast like this. I don't care about making mistakes. Like the last broadcast I did, it was all jacked up when I did my game. If you guys didn't join in on the game, be sure to catch my next live game show. The first one I did, I appreciate I think Brooke won the last one. Brooke, shout out in the comments, man. Did you get your package yet? Is it out for delivery? Or Brooke Robinson, shout out to him. He won the first game show that I did, which was the other day. And it was a flop, man. And there was another guy I sent something to, yeah. But it flopped. Like I tried it like 3 times. I don't care, man. It's all in fun, but I don't really, I don't have you can try to think of a plan when it's your hobby, but if it's fun, this doesn't really seem like, yeah, I'm getting paid from you guys watching the other videos that I do. However, it's fun to me. The funding that comes in to fund my channel, it's enough to purchase one device every month, and it's enough to purchase more than one device, but I got to get something back from my time. So I put that little cash away, and I give it to you guys later on different devices. However, if you don't like technology, this probably wouldn't be fun to you. So I think that changing my setting up, I told you at the beginning of the year, I'm going to change the setting for my videos. Now, I didn't really actually have a serious plan to what I was going to do, because I kind of try to let people give me advice and tell me the direction I should go. So I'm willing to try whatever. But when I did that live game show the other day, it flopped like the first 2 or 3 times. I don't care. I just redid it. I just did it again, because I'm human and I'll probably make a ton of mistakes. But when it's live like this, you guys get to see for real, you know, that I'm doing this, or, you know, you see who I am, and, you know, it's a lot more fun this way. And I'll start opening up. If you guys want me to continue with the live chat, say so. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people though. I want to give a shout out to Ken. Ken, I'm going to be working. I'm going to try to get more with Ken on something else. Ken knows what I'm talking about on podcasts. And my man Eric over at Easy Computer Solutions. You'll start seeing someone named Eric, hopefully on my channel, more for live settings like this. I think it's going to be good. I'm going to shift more to live things like this if I can and when I can, because I think this is a lot more fun. But if you guys like to see the live videos, that's better for me. It's easier on me. I don't have to worry about prepping too much. I just have to kind of set up cameras and get these huge spotlights all over the place. And but yeah, I think it's a lot better. And live chat is something that I'll try to continue. Let me put you know what? I'll go ahead and put the link to purchase the phone, because it's going to be in the the description of this video. But let me get the link real quick so you can see where to purchase it. Sorry for not having that in there. Again, this is live. I'm human. You know, I didn't even think about that. But let me go to the link for you. Now I'll put a direct link to that phone in the chat in just a second. Let me get it here. But yeah, man, I really enjoy this live setting. And I hope you guys do too. I'll try to do, I don't know if I can do a live unboxing like this, because I like to actually record. Maybe I'll record the unboxing with I have multiple cameras, so maybe I'll record, and then maybe I'll do, all these phones are going on. I'll do, let me get the link for you. I'll do a recording of it, and then maybe I'll go ahead and you know what? For the people in this video, I'm going to give you a 5% off code. Here it comes. This is for the phone that I just reviewed. I'm going to put a 5% off code in this chat. So when this video is over, live chat disappears. So there is a, what's going on, John Deere? What's going on, man? I just put a 5% code, 5% discount. Even the phone is only $108, but I just did a 5% off. So you guys can have 5% off for the people that watch the live broadcast. There is a 5% discount on that $108 that it already costs, man. I mean, it's already really, really cheap. I shouldn't say cheap. It's already pocket friendly, because I guess I can't shoot cheap. It's normally dealing with build quality. Wow, it looks like, my bad. Looks like he raised the price on me, but still, it's actually, he put it up to $129. So I guess with that, man, I think I would tell you to let me give you this other link for the other one. This is a great phone, but I'm going to put the link in here for the other one with the Touch ID, or not Touch ID, or the Fingerprint Reader. I'm going to put that one in there too, because that one is $138, and this one isn't. The price, I guess this one is selling so good that it's $129 now. So here's the one that has the Fingerprint Reader. Let me see here. That is the one with 3 gigs of RAM, Fingerprint Reader, 13 megapixel camera, Sony sensor. Go to the link, you can see for yourself. Really, really, really good phones. So even though, what is that 5%? If it's 129, what is that going to be? Let's see. He changed the price on me, man. My bad. I was saying 108 the whole time. It was 108 for a long time, so maybe it's starting to sell. Times 5%. So that'll take about $7 off, roughly, $650. Nonetheless, it's still a good phone, man. I'd recommend this to a lot of people who want a pocket-friendly phone with a big screen, 1080p display. Links are in the description, man. It's your man, Jay Will. Hopefully, I can join you guys live more. I've been trying to think of the right days to do live videos because it gets kind of hectic at times. You know, I do have a life outside of YouTube. I do a whole bunch. You have no idea. Wow. Again, I'm just like you, man. I'm maybe a little older than you, or we might be the same age. I don't know. But I do have a life. But this is really passionate to me. It's a lot of fun, so it doesn't seem like I'm working really hard. That's all that it is. When you're having fun, and you're doing something, it is not going to seem like you're working really, really hard. And that is the best part about doing YouTube videos. Anyone can start a YouTube channel, and I think it's really fun when a person says, "Man, you kind of helped me out to make my mind up whether or not I was going to, do a video or not." And I'm like, "Wow, okay, a huge compliment. I'm just like you, though. I'm, I'm just trying to get mine and have fun with technology like the next person." So, I'm going to shut down, man. I appreciate you guys' support. This was a lot of fun. And catch the recap for all those people that just joined in. You joined in a little bit late. I know you guys have to work. You might still be at work at this time of day, but catch the replay. It'll be processing on my channel here in a little bit. And I'm gonna go get me a late lunch. I should Floss hit me up, man. He came to me for some stuff offline. He's a good cat. I checked out his channel a long time ago. He gets a lot. He's a lot bigger than I am, and respect to him, because he's got a lot of followers. He does this thing over there. So, anyway, man, I am going to get out of here. It would be it's my honor. I'm happy that people actually took a second to join. It doesn't matter how many subscribers I have. It doesn't matter how many people's watching. It could have been 2 people on this broadcast, or I could have 200 subscribers. It still would be the same thing. Because I'm not doing it for any kind of special benefit. I just like to show you all this stuff and help you make a decision whether or not you want to get it or not. And it's just fun to me. So it's your man, Jay Will. I'm going to sign out. Thanks for joining me on another live broadcast. Catch the recap of this right here for those people that are just joining in. And the live chat is now closed because I'm off the air. Peace, y'all.